All right, so we are going to start here. You guys let me know if you can hear me good or if there's some echo or something happening. But I will go over really quick what I'd done last week. And then I'll jump into a little other few things, and then I'll do a decent drawing tonight of a torso. So with that said, here's a few books that I mentioned last week that maybe you should have or shouldn't, but this one in particular is a good one. And then there's another one I have. This one also. Hello, Michelle. Hello. These two in particular are my go-tos when I'm looking to draw, practice anatomy, and just get better. These two right here. This one here is a good one, but it's very technical, if you will. But it goes over all the muscles, the tendons, I think bones. Yeah, there's some bones in here too. So yeah, this is a very technical one. This book here is more of a comic style type of comic, or how to draw stuff, but I think this here, you should start with the other ones first before you jump to this one. This over here. And so last week, what up? Who's that? Drawing Gamer 93. How's everybody doing this evening? So I started a little bit on, I talked a little bit about, there's 3 different ways you can start with the torso. Here's the oval method, which I coined it, box method, and then we can call this the anatomy method, if you will. And I'm gonna show this one here a little bit tonight mixed with this one. I typically don't use the box one just because it's too boxy. But then we went to some stuff here, and all the red lines are showing reference and the lines of what I see to make the proportions fit right. And we'll go over this again tonight in a little lengthy, maybe longer detail type. I'll set those up there. Your work is fantastic. Oh, no problem, man. Thanks for hopping on real quick, though, Dan. Doing okay, pretty tired. Yeah, me and you both. I've just been tired lately. But we'll use this book here for a little bit tonight. And what I was talking about as far as the human method, and you can really see the human method happening right there. Let me see. I got a red pen, but I don't want to mark it with a pen. I'd rather use a pencil. Let's see if this will show up. All right, anyway. So we obviously have her spine. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. And this was an easy one, right? So we'll do a different pose or something like that. But the human method is like that. And then you just follow the ribs. Then you can put the little circle for her neck. Make the spine hook to her hips. And then you can put little circles for the legs. So without her flesh or whatever, you have this. I'm gonna pull out just a little bit. So if I bring her into frame, and so you can kind of see the rib cage here. We know her breast would fall somewhere around here. Her neck, spine, hips. And that's kind of what we got going on here. If we flip to, let's say we do her back, her back is still kind of straight, but there's just a little curve because all the weight is here. And you can tell that by the hips tilted and her torso tilted like that. And so if we wanted to draw that one, just the base to start it, we could do a slight curve in the spine. Her torso up top, chest area or back area, and then the hips. So we see we got a tilt happening like that. And you can still put the ribs back here like that. A little circle for the neck. And little circles for the legs. And that's kind of what we got going on here, right? We got a rib cage right here. And you can see her ribs right here. Her spine is curving just a little bit. And then we have her hips. And little circles for the legs. And this is typically how I start all the time with most of my drawings as far as anatomy and stuff like that. So I'll practice this a lot. So I won't even worry about fleshing stuff out or you know, adding on extremities like the arms and legs and all that, because this helps with movement. It helps with your foundation. So I practice that a lot, all the time. And these are just straight on, for the most part, shots. So there's no 3/4 turns yet or any of that. And if we keep going through this book here, let me pull out just a little bit. Now we got some different things happening. We got some up shots come from the top. She's laying down here, but the angle of the camera is different. We got a shot here where it's kind of up. This one, she's turned just slightly. And by practicing these foundation poses, if you will help you with the rest of the stuff. So I'm gonna do all of these just like this by itself. And so we'll start with another. This is almost a straight on shot, but again, we can see she's turned because the breast profiles this side versus it being straight on. So we can take the top part, and her spine is straight, but the torso is turned a bit. So we can add a little curve. Since this is round or oval-esque, we can curve that circle or that oval a little bit. And now we can put the ribs in here. So now it's turned, right? This way is literally straight on. We'll do some more circles here so we can see the difference in how stuff turns, right? And it's like with a ball or whatever. This is pretty much the same for heads too, but we're doing torsos. So what you're basically doing is cutting this oval in half with that line. And now you're just adding the ribs on whatever side that we cut it in half. I hope that makes sense. And then we can do her bottom part here, which is just a little smaller. So now we'll do this one up here. Sorry, I'm gonna just take another piece of paper and put under here because I don't like the way that feels. So I'm doing this one here. And we can see that it's turned a lot more. So we'll start with our oval, and you can do an oval just any kind of straight head-on oval up front, or the first. Where you add that center line to cut that oval in half is looking at how far the center of her chest is. You can look at the breast here, and then you just start sketching and guesstimating a little bit on how far to put this over. So we know we can see a lot of rib, right? And then we can only see a little bit of rib over here. And this determines how far I put this center line. So I want to put this center line over here, kind of close to the edge of this oval. And because we can see a lot of rib on this side, we'll see a lot of rib here and less rib here. And now her hips kind of poke out on this side more than this side. And the only thing this is doing is helping you get, again, like a base. Because this can change too, right? As we lay this base down and we start filling in the breast and the abdomen and the belly button, all that stuff, we may see that this is too close or it's too far. And that's the whole purpose of laying down the foundation. And then you can move stuff around, because you should be sketching pretty light until you're happy with what you got going on. We can put circles for her thighs or legs. And also at this point, we don't have to focus on like the curves right now, right? Because there's a hips here, and then her glutes are back here. We don't have to worry about all that right now. We're just concerned about getting the proper pose. That's what we're doing. And when you're doing like 15-second, 30-second gesture drawings, this is what helps get that muscle memory of how close this center line is to that side and all the way to that side. How far the distance from, I don't know, let's say the bottom of the ribs to the top of the hips, how far that is. And this is probably all you'll be doing when you do gesture drawings. Like, you'll see just shapes. And just trying to get the shape of what you're looking at. You get more time, you all obviously will get more detailed and more shapes and all that stuff, but for them 10-second and 15-second sessions, this is all you're gonna get. And it may look crappy, but you're training your mind to see things differently. So let's do that one. That one's let me see, can y'all see that? No. Let's do this one, because the shape is a lot different than just head on like we've been doing. Let's see if I can pull in. So I want to do this one, right? And because it's a little more complex, I need to sit here and look at this for a minute to see where these ovals and circles are going to end up, right? So I know her spine is here. And these are her ribs, right? And since her arm is in the way, I have to assume, because I know the human body, her ribs are under here. So we still have that human form first. And then we have her hips here. And if you get some books like this, you can do this in your books too. This will help you translate it to your drawing. Spine, upper part of the torso, chest area, where her rib cage is, and then her hips. And if you just do the same thing here, so we have her upper part, right? And we already know the spine now is closer to this side. And then we have her rib cage. And her hips. The camera is kind of down like this, so we know her arms and shoulders are tilted, along with it being tilted this way. And now her legs, if we want to add legs and all that stuff, would be here. Her arm is coming down because it's blocking all that stuff. We only see a little shoulder here. Shoulder comes out there. And then you just start filling in stuff. Like, don't go in hard. Sketch stuff out lightly and kind of feel on it. Like I said, even if you're looking at like the picture that I want to draw tonight, right? So, let me get this on here. So I think I want to do this tonight a little bit. Just one, because there's some good shape right in here. Like right here. But it's a very almost head-on type shot. But you could do the same here, right? So we could print this off and do the same thing of what we've been doing here, right? So as I'm looking at this, and we're just doing a torso. So here I'm thinking of, here's that oval. We can see her ribs, the center line, put the ribs in there. Bring the spine all the way through. And now we have hips and circles for the legs. So you could print this picture off and draw that stuff in there before you draw it on your paper. I think that would help a lot before you got to actually putting something on paper. It helps, trust me. We can do it here too, right? So here is the oval. We cut that oval in half. What her spine. We can see her rib right here. And the other part of the rib here. Spine falls through. And then we have hips where she's sitting down. And you can break everything down. Woman, man, child, in those small little bite-sized pieces. And again, I think that was the whole thing I wanted to do for this series, is make it easier to understand anatomy versus, you know, looking at it and be like, oh, it's too complex and very hard to do. It's once you see it in a different way, it becomes a lot easier. You do have to study though, right? Even doing like this, you still need to understand what is under her arm or behind this arm. When she raises her arm here, how does this affect the breast? How does it affect the ribs? Which ones go up higher? You know, as you're raising your arms, your ribs spread open a little bit. So you have to study some so you understand how things work. But
looking for new songs? YouTube Music is your personal guide to the world of music.
And so,
built to help you find exactly.
if y'all got any questions, man, just shout them out, blurt them out, whatever. I'm gonna close this, and we're gonna do that right there. I think I'm gonna flip this over. So have y'all been watching anything? I don't know. I don't think I've been watching too much of anything new. I think I've been watching What If a little bit. I need to catch up on those. But I think that's about it, honestly. I just started watching 9 Perfect Strangers. It seems pretty decent so far. I think I'm 1 episode in. Alright, so I'm gonna move this over a little bit. And I'm gonna just focus on from her collarbone to like the lower part of her glutes. So I'm gonna look at it for a little bit. Like I said, I think we can do the oval human method. We got her ribs right here. Center line. And then hip area. And I think I got it for the most part, right? So if we start with a somewhat oval, right? And I want to bring that center line through there. Now I'm looking for her ribs, right? And again, we're kind of loosely drawing this stuff. I'm gonna zoom in a bit so y'all can see what's happening. And it'll be pretty much the same for the male stuff too, right? And so now I'm looking at, if this is the bottom, if this is the bottom of my ribs here, how far does other stuff need to be, right? So if we got the bottom here, I'm gonna draw an imaginary line over here, and I know that's where her hip starts, right there. The same with this hip here, right? So I can bring this out. And then we could put the little circles for the legs. If we get a little close up here, we have a base, and now we can build off of that base. I think I'm happy with what I got going on there. I'm wiped out, heading to bed early. All right, you do the same. Talk to you later. So we'll focus on this rib area here just a little bit. And we have her back here. Now I'm gonna use the bikini as a lot of my reference points. And I'm gonna use my red pen when I do reference points, right? So I'm gonna use this as a point, and I'm gonna use this as a point right off the rip. And so if I know her bikini is here, if I do, my red stuff is imaginary, right? I'm doing a straight line down. Do a straight line down here, and it don't have to be perfect, but you get what I'm going here. I'm just looking for reference. If I look from this point down, how far out is certain items? How far in are certain items?
Your personal guide to the world of K-pop. Sign up for YouTube Music Premium with 1 free month.
And so if we have the string of the bikini ends here, it's another reference point. I know her hip comes out about here. And then her thigh comes out even a little further. And again, I'm drawing light, so if this isn't right, I can change it. I can move a line out a little further, I can move a line in a little closer, whatever. Again, I'm just kind of sketching some stuff out. I'm using these reference points. If I'm happy with that base, and I know I like the bottom of where this rib cage is, again, what falls down straight here that I can match up with stuff down here. And if I look at my reference, here's the bottom of that rib cage, and if I bring that line straight down, we can see the crease where her leg is bent, the hip joint, right? So I can start that crease right there and kind of swoop that leg on over like that. So I come straight down. And I'm just looking, right? So I'm thinking it should be about here is where that crease in her leg should be. Again, it don't have to be perfect right now. I'm just kind of sketching stuff out. And also, if I look at on a reference where this reference point is, if I come straight down, I know the other section of the bikini is here. So I can kind of start sketching some stuff in here. This actually seems to be like a pretty big piece of bikini that's on there, but we'll see what happens. We can bring that up here. Yes, I'm still listening. We know if we look at the top of her bikini, her belly button is here. And so now we can start doing this other stuff, right? Come to the top. I'm using this reference point again. I'm just going up a little bit. I'm not real sure as how far this needs to go, but I'm just guesstimating right now. So I'm thinking maybe right there, right? If I look at my reference, it's a little bit above where this rib cage makes its arc, right? So it's a little bit above that. And this is the bottom of her top of the bikini. Then we have more of the top, doing some stuff up here. And so if I'm looking at the center here as another reference point, here was a reference point. And so now I'm gonna go across. And I use a bunch of reference points. And this is again how I get proportions right. So if I take this reference point, go across, I just look at my actual picture and do the same with the reference point and see what is intersecting here, or what's hitting right here on that line. got some scrunchy right here. Scrunchy stuff happening here. And now we see where her breasts start falling, coming back out. And always, always put the back. A lot of artists always forget the back. So we have her breast coming out here, and then these are her pecs up here, right? So women have pectorials like men. And people always forget the pecs and the back. You need, I don't want to say weight, but weight is what I'm thinking of. You need something to hold the front of it. Artists are very wanting to draw breasts and the hips and all that, but you forget to put the back and the rest of the anatomy, and it just looks weird. So here, if we got her breasts here, we can see there's a little distance for her back here, and we need to show that. And then when her breasts come up, we have to pop that pectoral out right here. This is so important. And then her arms kind of come down. We don't need to really concern ourselves with that. And she has her collarbone, stuff happening up here. Her shoulder just a little bit showing, right? I'm gonna zoom out here so we can see where we are with reference and my drawing. And now I'm gonna darken it in a little bit because I'm not sure if you can really see that really good there. But I'm okay with where we are now. And I'm gonna just darken the main things here.
It's been a long day. You're taking a relaxing bubble bath, finding your inner zen while chaos occurs outside. Within these walls is your sanctuary of peace. Just you, the water, calming music, and me? I know, I don't belong here, not in this sea of serenity.
It looks like her bikini has kind of got holes all in it. It looks like somebody was trying to do some weird design thing. And we see that it scrunches up here. We ain't really too concerned with that. This is almost a straight line out here. We got a little string. We can see here, it's got some muscles happening, right? Her hip muscles, I think they're flexors if I'm not mistaken, but they're creating some shadows. So we want to show that. And then her rib cage is what we got here. It's kind of got a nice little shadow happening. And we have our back. On this line with the bikini, touches this bikini here. Again, we got some more scrunchy stuff. Got this part of the bikini going up here. And again, I'm just blocking stuff out for right now, just so we can see how the reference compared to the drawing. And again, me just using my reference points. Comes up there. To make sure we are in proportion. And I think we got it. Like, so, she's not very hippie, and we use reference points. And I can probably point out half a dozen more reference points besides these 4 that I've used. So, red equals reference. And I will put more notes on this as well. I'm not sure if you guys looked on a Patreon and seen the notes that I've done for the last one, but all these red lines and crosses and intersections, it's all reference for me. And it helps me make sure stuff is in proportion because I started with that base. The base was solid. I paused for a second or two to make sure it was solid. Then I was able to go in to use these reference points. That's, I guess, the main thing. Make sure your base is solid. Because that's the only way you'll be able to use reference points. And how you get solid bases is practice this a lot. There's no getting around it. There's no shortcuts. You got to practice this stuff in order to get solid bases to use the reference points. As I'm looking, I've used this as a reference point. I used her belly button as a reference point, and this is just stuff in my head, right? I've used the line to come across this way. I used the line for this. I used this as a reference point. So when I pulled this line, I needed to see where this one would come out further. So there's a bunch of reference points that I've used. And so now I go back in and I would, start shading areas and adding volume to this piece. And so I think that's it. Next week, I won't go over too many reference points or whatever. I'll just talk while I'm actually doing a really detailed piece on the female torso. And And then the next 3 weeks after that, I will do the male torso, and we'll go through the same stuff, but you'll see that the male torso is more straight. There's not a lot of curves, and but we'll just practice until we all get better, if that's what you want. Yeah, so I appreciate y'all for hanging out, and I will see y'all next week. Be sure to look at the notes on Patreon so you can see and practice and get a better understanding. Study, pretty much, study. But yeah, I'll see y'all next week.